Hey mathematicians, how are you? I am so excited that we are starting a new math unit today. We are starting unit 5 and it's all about telling time and graphs. It's going to be a really fun unit. Let's get started. Okay, our very first target is right up here. So go ahead and follow along as we read together. I can tell and write time to the hour, including AM and PM. Wow. So we're going to practice telling time to the hour, and we're going to practice using AM and PM. All right, so let's just start off with what in the world is a clock? What is a clock? Seems like an important tool. I want you to pause the video now, jot down an idea, turn and tell someone near you, whisper to your dog, whoever might be close by, what is a clock and why do we use it? All right, glad you're back. So a clock, you are right, is something that we use to tell time. And clocks can look different ways. So a clock can look like something you have on your phone. A clock can look like something you have on your wrist. A clock can be on the wall. A clock can be next to your bed. Clocks are ways that we tell time. And they are important for many reasons. They help us to manage our time so we don't just sit and do one thing all day. They help us to make it to school on time. They help to remind us if we're forgetting or we get caught up in something about when is it time to eat and take care of our bodies. So time is really important. And it's what helps us to all be on the same page. It's what helps us to all start our online huddle all at the same time and enjoy time together. It's what allows us all to get to our soccer practice at the same time so we don't miss it. So telling time and using clocks is a really important tool that we need to know how to use. All right, so what are the parts of a clock? Now I want you to pause again, jot an idea, turn and tell someone near you, whisper to your cat, whatever you can do. I really want you to stop and tell me, what are the parts of an analog clock? What are the important parts of an analog clock? Pause the video, jot that down, or turn and tell someone now. All right, I'm glad you're back. So let's just jump right in. What is a clock and what are the important parts? Why is telling time important? I want you to listen. If you didn't know the important parts of a clock, I want you to listen in right now and see what kind of new learning you can take away from this brain pop. Remember, if you ever want to go back and rewatch this brain pop, when you go to your single sign-on my.bvsd.org, you can always click on the brain pop icon on your single sign-on page right here. And you can find this video again. There's also activities connected to it too. Let's watch the video now.
What you reading? You can't actually read a clock, Moby. Well, a clock doesn't tell you much of a story. It tells you the time. A clock doesn't actually talk. It just, well, what is a clock? I know that a clock is a tool that we use to measure time, just like we use tools to measure height. All clocks measure the same time, even if they look really different. This is the type of clock we have in our classroom. And I have my own clock in my bedroom. And there's a clock in our living room. Oh yeah, and Grandpop has a clock on his arm. A watch. I guess clocks can tell time in different ways. Well, Grandpop's watch is digital, and the time is written out in numbers. And Mr. Patchouli says the clock in our classroom is analog. You have to figure out the time by looking at the face. What is the face of a clock? The face of a clock is the part with the numbers on it. Like on this clock, the face is the white part. There are 12 numbers that go around the face of a clock. Just like there are 12 inches on a ruler, or 12 months in a year. The 12 is always on the top, and the 6 is always on the bottom. But the face and numbers don't tell time by themselves. What do the hands on the clock do? The hands are the part of the clock that point to the numbers. I know they aren't really hands. That's just what they're called. The little hand is called the hour hand because it shows the hour. And the big hand is called the minute hand because it shows the minutes. While the minute hand goes all the way around the clock, the hour hand moves from one number to the next. So the hour hand moves slower than the minute hand. And the hands always move in one direction. It's called clockwise. No, the hands never go backwards. That's called counterclockwise. But check it out, Moby. There are clocks everywhere. I guess people need clocks to know the time. But why is time so important? Every morning my alarm clock wakes me up for school. Come on, Moby, it's time to wake up. We don't want to be late. I know the bus comes at 8 o'clock, so we have to make sure we're at the bus stop before it comes. I guess time is important because we used to plan the day. Moby, it's not time for lunch yet. There are a lot of times to remember, like our school starts at 8:30. Oh, and we have music at 2 o'clock. And I know the most important time of all, free time.
All right, mathematician. So what's one thing you learned? Baby Dane's with us now. Hi, Baby Dane. Speaking of time, it's time for his nap, but he's not interested. Bummer. So he gets to be with us. So what did you learn? What are the three main parts of an analog clock? And why is telling time important? This is another great time to let me know. Write it on a sticky or turn and tell someone near you, or a stuffy, or your dog, whatever you might have. That's right. The important parts of a clock are the face that have the numbers, just like my face, the short hour hand, and the longer minute hand. We'll come back to those tools in a little bit. All right. So I want you to tell me when you look on your screen, look at the two different types of clocks that you have. What is this clock? What type? Is that a digital or an analog? Let's hear it. That's right. This is digital. How about the time that you might see on your parents' phone or on someone's phone? That's right. Also digital. How about the clock that you would see hanging in school in our learning community? That's right. This is analog. An analog clock has all the numbers 1 to 12. A short minute hand. Everybody say short minute hand. A short hour hand. Short hour hand. Say short hour hand. And a long minute hand. Say long minute hand. The short hour hand matches the time. The short hour hand matches the time on a digital clock before the two dots. That long minute hand right here matches the time after the two dots on a digital clock. All right. So let's practice telling time. Okay, let's try this time right here. If we know that the short hand tells us the hours and the long hand stretches to tell us the minutes, let's try 6 o'clock. Now there's a couple ways you can do this. I got creative at home because I don't have an extra clock I can play with at home. So I took a plate and I folded it into fourths. And we'll come back to this again in a couple of lessons. But if you take your plate and fold it into fourths this way, and then you fold it into fourths this way, That gives you your marks for 12 and 6. It gives you your marks for 3 and 9. And then I did my most very careful best work to try and put 1 and 2 spread out evenly between 3. Put 4 and 5 spread out between 6. Put 7 and 8 spread between 6 and 9. And then 10 and 11 evenly between 9 and 12. So if this is something you're interested in doing, I recommend pausing the video now, making yourself your own clock, or getting through the lesson and then making one for yourself after today's lesson. You can use a plate, you can use a piece of paper, you can use a piece of material, whatever you might have at home. This is just what I happen to be able to find. And then I chose a Q-tip. I cut that one in half for the short hour hand. And then I kept this one long for the minute hand. So if we know that the first number on a digital clock matches the short hour hand, this is what 6 o'clock looks like. The short hour hand is pointing at the 6. That long minute hand is straight on the 12 at o'clock. 00 is o'clock. There are no minutes yet in this hour. We are right at 6 o'clock. Now, here's another cool tool that you can find on our Math Google Classroom. If you click on this clock in our Math Google Classroom, you can turn it into the time that you want. So here is 6 o'clock. If I just click and drag, I can make it the next hour 7 o'clock. I can make it 8 o'clock. Give me a time. Give me a time that you want to see. 3 o'clock? Okay, I'll go backwards to 3 o'clock. 4 and 3 o'clock. So this clock is in our Google Classroom. If you want to play with this, see if you can get the analog to match the digital up here. Have someone in your family call out times. Right now we're just working on the hour time. So 2 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. That's all we're working on right now. Have somebody call out times and practice showing those times on this clock right here. Okay. So now I want you to think about, if it is 6 o'clock and you are showing 6 o'clock on your clock, what are you doing at 6 o'clock in your life? Well, it depends. Are we talking about 6 o'clock a.m. or 6 o'clock p.m.? There's a difference. So I want you to think about, if you know the difference between a.m. and p.m., I want you to write down or whisper to someone near you, what does 6 a.m. mean? And what does 6 p.m. mean? What's the difference? What are you usually doing at 6 a.m.? And what are you usually doing at 6 p.m.? And if you're not sure, I want you to listen in to this really fun video. Then we'll come back to a.m. and p.m. together. So listen for what is a.m.
1, 2, 3, go.
and what is p.m.
Happy Friday! Stretch out the hour hand, see where on the clock it lands. The last number it went by is the number 5. Stretch out the minute hand, see where on the clock it lands. Each line equals 1 minute, so the time is 5:06. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour of time. To count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. Stretch out the hour hand, see where on the clock it lands. 9's the last number it went by, so the hour hand points to 9. Stretch out the minute hand, see where on the clock it lands. It's pointing right at the 5, so the time is 9:25. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour of time. To count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. Stretch out the hour hand, see where on the clock it lands. The hour hand lasts past the 8, so the hour of time is 8. Stretch out the minute hand, on the clock it lands, it points to 4 precisely. So the time is 8:20. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour of time. To count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. The hour hand is shorter always. It goes around the clock twice each day. First time round is AM. Second time it's called PM. AM starts at midnight's moon and continues until noon. So we call noon 12 p.m. and it goes till 12 a.m. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour of time. To count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. We count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 minutes on each clock we see. We count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 minutes on each clock we see. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour of time. To count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. Visit numberrock.com for exclusive content, lesson materials, and more.
All right, mathematicians. So what did you learn? What is the difference between AM and PM? If I'm asking you what you're doing at, hold this time up, assistant. Here's Cody helping me out. 6 a.m. What are you doing at 6 a.m.? Cody, are you usually waking up and eating breakfast at 6 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you are too. You're either sleeping or that's when you're just starting your day and eating breakfast, brushing your teeth, and getting dressed. Now, how about PM? If we look at PM, what are you usually doing in the PM part of your day? At 6 p.m., Cody, what are you usually doing? Is that when you eat dinner and you're doing schoolwork and reading at night?
Yeah.
Nice. Some of you might be at soccer practice. Some of you might be practicing a musical instrument. But that's usually when we're doing dinner time and it's the end of our day before bedtime. So AM and PM, there is a difference. Now, AM is the time in your day from midnight, the middle of the night when you're sleeping, all the way to midday lunchtime. So it's the morning part of our day. And PM picks up right where AM leaves off. So it's lunchtime, the middle of our day, all the way through the afternoon. You get home from school, you do maybe a little bit of reading, have a snack, you do sports, dinner time, go to bed, and then all the way up to midnight, and then it starts over each day. So I want you to stop and tell someone right now, AM is the morning from midnight to lunchtime, and PM is the afternoon from lunchtime to midnight again. Nicely done, mathematicians. It's important we know that because what if, Cody, I tell you to meet me at 3 a.m. to play with me on the playground? If you're still sleeping at 3 a.m., will you meet me? No. So mathematicians, that's why it matters. Now, Cody, if I say, can you meet me at the playground at 3 p.m. to play, would you meet me? Yes, because that's the afternoon. So it's really important that we know AM and PM so that you know when to be places and when to be there at the right time. Okay, so let's just practice a little bit of what we just learned together. I want you to look at this chart that's in front of you, and I want you to help me complete the chart that you see. I want you to think about the time that you see. Think about if it says AM or PM, so morning or afternoon. I want you to tell me if it's light out or dark, which part of the day, and what activity might you be doing at that point in the day. So for example, at 4 a.m., that's before this 6 o'clock a.m. At 4 a.m., it's usually dark out. It's early morning, and you're usually sleeping. So now I want you to stop and think, at 12:30 p.m. So a.m. goes from midnight all the way through our morning breakfast, getting to school, learning, lunchtime, and then p.m. starts right at that noon or that 12 lunchtime. So if it's 12:30 p.m., it had just turned p.m. If it's right after lunchtime, Cody, is it sunny out or dark?
Sunny.
That's right, it's sunny out. Did you say the same thing, mathematician? Now, what part of the day is it? Is that morning or afternoon if it's after lunch?
Afternoon.
Yeah, did you say the same thing, mathematician? All right, mathematician, I want to hear you participate on this last one. What activity would you be doing at 12:30 p.m.? You could say an activity you'd be doing now when you're home or when you're at school. What would you be doing at 12:30 p.m.? Right after lunch, what would you be doing?
All kind of sort of different school things.
Schoolwork, just like you, Mabs. You would be doing literacy and reading and writing. Nice job. Okay, now let's look at this one. At 9 p.m., so it turned to p.m. at lunchtime, and then it's p.m. all afternoon, getting home, dinner time, going to bed, starting to sleep. You've been asleep a little bit. Now it's 9 p.m. It's not midnight yet. So is it sunny out or is it dark if you're sleeping?
Dark.
All right, did you say the same thing, mathematician? Okay, mathematician, which part of the day is it? Which part of the day is it if you're in bed?
It's
morning or nighttime?
nighttime.
That's right, it's nighttime. And what activity are most of you doing at 9 p.m.? Sleeping. At p.m. at nighttime, sleeping. That's right, mathematicians. So it looks like you're sleeping really early in the morning, and it looks like you're sleeping late at night. All right. Now, if you are brushing your teeth in the morning, would that be 1:30 p.m., 3 p.m., or 7:30 a.m.? Well, there's a big clue word right here that says morning. And so based on that, I already know it can't be this. It can't be this. So what do you have to be doing? What time about could you be brushing your teeth? That's right, 7:30 a.m. because a.m. is morning. A.m. is from midnight all the way through that middle of the night, early morning, waking up time, breakfast, all the way up to lunchtime is a.m. How about this one? You eat dinner at nighttime. Which time would you do that? I want you to pause the video and tell someone near you. 5 a.m., 12 noon, the middle of the day, lunchtime, or 6 p.m. Remember, p.m. is the evening. Which one would you eat dinner at? Cody, which one would you eat dinner at?
This one.
Yeah, Cody pointed to 6 p.m. Did you say the same thing, mathematician? Okay, last one. If you're going to watch an afternoon movie, let's say you're home right now, you got all your schoolwork done before lunchtime, and you get to watch an afternoon movie. Oh, you're so lucky. What time would it be? 3 a.m.? A.m. means morning. 2 p.m., afternoon, or 6 p.m., like dinner time? Which one? Which one, Cody?
2 p.m.
Nicely done. Way to go. High five. Can you give the mathematician on the screen a high five? Way to go, mathematician. I am so proud of you. Okay, so now we're going to practice making a couple of times on the clock, telling times just to the hour. We're not going to worry too much about the minutes yet. So if you look closely at your screen, we know a digital clock, the hour is the number before the 2 dots. And if you look at Miss A's fancy paper plate clock, we know the hour is that short hour hand. And when that long minute hand is always on the 12, straight up and down, it always means o'clock, just right on the hour, 6 o'clock. What would this time be if it's pointing at the 7, Cody? What time would that be?
7
o'clock.
o'clock.
That's right. How about this one? Mathematicians, join Cody. If the hour hand is pointing at the 3 and the 12 is straight up and down, what time would that be?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Nicely done. Okay, now Cody's going to see if he can trick us. Are you ready? I want you to either get your pretend paper clock out that you have, go to Google Classroom and click on this clock. You can do it along with us. or I want you to just think in your head what you would do. I want you to tell me, what do you see on the time Cody gives us? So Cody's going to give us a time, and then we're going to build it with our clock. Are you ready? All right, Cody, give us our time, because we're going to make our analog clock here match our digital clock. Oh, he's trying to trick us. Oh, man. If you were to write that one down, what would you write? The hour hand is pointing at the 12, and the minute hand is also pointing at the 12. That's right. If I were to write it, it would look like this on a digital clock. 12 o'clock. This 12 o'clock matches the clock that Cody created for us. Okay, now Cody, you show us a digital time, and we're going to build it on our analog clock. And the mathematicians at home are either going to picture it, or they're going to build it if they have a clock in front of themselves. So show us a digital time. Okay, now tell us what that time is, mathematicians. It's right, 2 o'clock. Now let's build it on our analog clock. The hour hand is at the 2, and that minute hand is still straight up and down at the 12. Does your clock look like that, or is that what you pictured in your head? All right, give us another one, Cody. One that we haven't done. Try and trick us. Oh, what this time, mathematicians? That's right, 11 o'clock. Now, what would you picture in your head it would look like over here? That's right, 11 o'clock. All right, Cody, give us one more. See if you can trick us. Is he going to do it, folks? What's that time? That's right, 6 o'clock. Now, Cody, build it with our analog clock. The hour hand, that short hand is on the 6. That long minute hand is stretching straight to the 12. That minute hand didn't move today. Don't worry, it'll start moving tomorrow. All right, mathematicians, I am really proud of you. Please give Cody a pound and tell Cody thank you for joining us and thank you for helping today. Give him a pound. Now, here's where you're going to do some extra practice. You can find in your homework workbook pages that match the work that we did today. So these are the homework book pages right here that match the work that we did today. Page 137 through 138. Or if you go to our Google Classroom, all of the practice pages for Unit 5 are there. So you can pull up the pages there from our school workbook, and you can either look at them on the screen and practice in front of you with pencil and paper, or if you're able to, your family can print them out. So follow me in what your steps would be if you want to do that. Make sure you're watching closely. Remember, you can either do 137, 138 in your homework book, or follow my steps to look at the workbook pages from your school workbook. All right, here we go. You're going to go to my.bvsd.org, your single sign-on. Remember to bookmark it by touching that star if you haven't done that yet. Then everybody click on Google Drive, Google Classroom, Google Classroom. Which Google Classroom do you think our math work is going to be in? That's right, click on the pink Math Second Grade. Now that you're there, you're going to go to Classwork. This is a new unit. This is Unit 5, Telling Time. And right underneath Unit 5, it says Workbook Pages. If you click on that, you can open up all of the workbook pages for this unit. There's a letter that your parents can read. And then here, the first couple pages are the ones that I want you to look at, work through, talk about with someone in your house, do the best you can by yourself, and practice. What does this time say? How do you write it in words? How would you write it digitally? Now here's the pages. Go ahead and pause the video now so you can choose. Are you going to do workbook pages that you have in your math workbook at home, your homework book? Or are you going to head over to Google Classroom and look at the pages that are uploaded there for you? Pause the video now. See you next time. Say bye, Cody.
Bye.